So let's talk England under-20s as they face Italy this weekend, and they've got a fantastic chance now to get another Six Nations and maybe even a Grand Slam. They've made plenty of changes, as they do more than the seniors, because this is a development side as well as trying to win the thing. So we're going to go through the team, and at the end of that, we've also got the interviews between the captain Tom Burrow, the coach Andy Titterrell, and the media. So that's going to be an interesting listen as well. But let's go through this team, and they've made some changes. That front row is another different front row. We've got Scholar starting, Guli starting, and Guli's been the replacement for the star hooker Kepu Tuipulotu, so he gets the chance to step out of the shadows and show what he can do, because he's a very good hooker. Raymond, we saw against Scotland, he scored a fantastic try, massive titan of a tight head, as there are so many coming through. The Boiler House is serious though. That back row and that Boiler House there are big boys. Soda K and Tom Burrow, they are massive men, especially Soda K is very solid. Tom Burrow is an absolute lighthouse. He's the captain, great leader. Kapoku, they are sticking with him at 6, just using his size, his explosive power there, not worrying him about the technical stuff in the line-out. He is just being a nuisance. Timmins has been the replacement for Pollock and done very well. Obviously, Henry Pollock sticking with the seniors, so they would have liked him. Maybe he wouldn't have played this game anyway, but he is in their best team. And Kane James has been an ever-present at 8. I think he started every game so far at 8, and he is an absolute key man. Into the backs, and Dom Hansen gets his first start. He came on last time. There was an injury to Lucas Friday, so big chance for him. And Josh Bellamy of Harlequins is the 10. He's a very exciting 10. Expect this ball to move around all over the place. He's going to make breaks. He is a classic Harlequins 10. Allison and Hall pair up again in the centres. Bracken's the guy we probably know a bit more about on the wing, Jack Bracken. He's been ever present. And then 2 youngsters who played against Scotland were very impressive. George Pearson, he was super impressive. His first cap against Scotland. Everybody was commenting in the comments saying how good he looked. And Riddle is a very tall, lanky, quick winger. Into the replacements, and one to watch in the forwards is Kepu Tuipulotu, the hooker. He's going to explode off that bench, and that's going to be hopefully bad news for Italy. And a guy to talk about in the backs is Joe Davis, the scrum half from Newcastle. Already played seniors, he's a serious talent, and Steve Diamond was bemoaning the fact he wasn't in the under-20s last year. He is now, and I think he's got a big future as well. So let me know what you think of that team, what's going to happen, and enjoy the interviews with Tom Burrow and Andy Titterrell.
I like to play the game pretty fast and expansive. I love the collision side of the game as well. So I think how we try and push and promote things within the pathway is definitely around a lot of our ball movement, not coming too predictable, allowing forwards to get their hands on the ball and being able to express themselves from a forwards perspective. And then obviously the backs will, continue to do, I guess, what they normally do in the games in terms of looking for space, identifying it, and then obviously trying to execute. But I think, certainly what we like to try and do within the pathway is not pigeonhole forwards to be one-out runners, is to be able to get the hands on the ball and actually go out there and play and enjoy playing, because that's what the game's about. In my eyes. And I think, I guess even during my time at Wasps, that's exactly how I would want my forwards to play, in terms of, making decisions, backing themselves to do it. And then the coaching side of it comes into more about the technical side of, how to take contact, how you're looking to get your hands free. Can you keep the ball alive? Like decision making. And then it all comes down to, was it executed properly? If it wasn't, was it still the right decision? So, I'd like to think that, I was able to run around a fair bit when I played. And, that's, certainly how we tried to, get that message across with the boys since I've been in the pathway. One coach, my first academy coach, James Wade up at Sale, he had a big influence on me. He spent a lot of time, I guess, in the academy with us, I guess, nurturing us. Himself, Simon Hardy as well, from an England perspective. The amount of time that both James and Simon put into me regarding my technical throwing side of things was, they were like a comfort blanket for me, to be fair. And it probably took me maybe the best part of 7-8 years to actually feel that I could be, comfortable enough on my own to, throw, make mistakes and, adapt what I thought was necessarily. But yeah, those two coaches in particular, Kingsley Jones and Philippe Saint Andre, were massive influences, not just on me, but I think in the wholesale team. During mid 2000s up until we won the Premiership. We had some great characters in the team, and some amazing ball players. And I wasn't, looking back now, obviously, I wasn't surprised. I guess the success that we had in 2006. But as you say, I think the game becomes easier when you have good players around you.
I think, look, Tits is great for us boys. He's got such a breadth of knowledge around so many different areas of the game that we just enjoy sort of learning. I know for myself, it's been in camps an opportunity to pick up and just grow as a player and learn as much as I can. So I think having a coach that's experienced a similar environment, but also others in the country and elsewhere is massive for us boys to learn and pick up different bits and bobs.
Size, physicality, and I guess probably, sometimes as well, I think sometimes when we get the boys into the pathway, as I said prior, we want to try and get the players to, get the shackles off and to play. So I think it's probably, we're not Premiership rugby, although we're still trying to win a Six Nations and, win and go as far as we can in World Cups. We're about the development of these guys. The longevity of the sport for these lads is that when they leave the pathway, they go on, have successful senior careers with their clubs, and then obviously hopefully push on into international honours. So it's part of that, that development for them. But geez, these I don't think I'd be able to cope with the demands of the game if I played now. I think the smallest lads are probably around about 6 foot and the best part of 115 kilos. So I think the game's always evolving that side of things. So as I say, as long as we can get these lads moving well with ball in hand, then they should be pretty devastating and very hard to stop going forward.
And look, it provides different scenarios for us. I think the Ireland and France games are a great test for us mentally to dig in and really grind a win out, but also the Scotland game provides sort of a different mental test where it was up to us to keep our foot on the throat and finish the job. It was easy for us maybe to be lacklustre in that last 40, but it was a different mental challenge for us to keep going and really put sword to the hammer. So I think, yeah, it's really important that we win, in every aspect that we can. So I think, it can be important for us to win ugly, to win clean at times, but I think it's provided a good challenge. They chuck right in at the deep end, mate. Like they're straight into training, they're in meetings, they're contributing. And I think the beauty of this squad is boys aren't scared to be themselves. They're willing to put their hand up and showcase why they're in the squad. So I think they're all fitted in very well throughout the tournament. There's been no issues there, and I think as a group we do well at welcoming boys and making sure boys are comfortable to go and express themselves on the pitch.
We've tried to focus just on ourselves mainly, leading into this game. I think where Italy have been over the last couple of years, they've had obviously big forward packs, dominant set piece, certainly allowed us to work for our win last year. We were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to play them at 19s level last year as well. So just like ourselves, some of those players have transitioned into their 20s squad. But look, I think in terms of what may come at the weekend, I know we had a big win against Scotland. They had a big loss against France. So I have no doubt that they would be, wanting to put a few wrongs right against us. We're playing at home. They'll probably think that they haven't got a lot to lose. They'd want to knock us off our perch. So, I think as long as we're focused in terms of our game plan, how we want to go into the game, I'm sure that it will be an exciting, game of rugby to watch. And, I'm sure if we get things right, as I know that we've trained hard all week in terms of aspects that we're going to go after, and concentrate on ourselves, then we should hopefully get over the try line a few times. We like to try and give a lot of the onus onto the players. We sit down and we go through with leadership groups about things that we've seen. Ultimately, I think at the end of the day, when the boys are playing, they're the ones that have to make the decision, not us as coaches. We can help guide them and help them in their understanding. But I say when they're playing, a lot of the time we leave it up to the boys to problem solve and adapt on the field. There might be things that are glaringly obvious that haven't necessarily been picked up. So if that's the case, we might just drop in a couple of messages. But other than that, it's the boys are competent enough to know how we play, how we want to play, the strengths within the team, things and fix-ups that we've gone from game to game to try and look at how we could eliminate areas where we think Italy may attack us. So I think as a cohesive coaching group, that's what we try and do from an attack defensive perspective. I obviously work close with Tom from the line-out area as well, making sure that runs relatively seamless. And I think that's just an ongoing collaboration, from last year really, when Tom first came into the squad. So we try and cover as much as we can, but not too much where the players get clouded with what they need to actually go out and do and deliver. I'm not too sure. I think there's obviously certain specialist positions that cover certain aspects of the game. I think especially how individuals like to play the game as well. I think a lot of the time hookers were always, I think, regarded as like a fourth back rower. So they like to play with ball in hand. They probably thought that they could understand the game, a little bit more than what the props could in terms of being, part of that front row union. I think they certainly understand the technical side of the game, especially in and around the throwing aspect, because that's a very difficult skill to master and to be consistent at. So obviously, I think there's probably a lot of empathy that can come with that role. And I think anybody, as long as you kind of like see the game through different eyes, you can have your own philosophy on how you want to play the game, but ultimately it's how you collaborate with your other coaches to then go and put game plans together, how you can keep challenging each other and challenge the group of players that you get. And I think the beauty within the pathway is that our cohort will change every couple of years. Unfortunately, we can't keep hold of some of these lads after this year. A new group of lads will come through, which will have a completely different skill set. May need certain, attention in other areas than where some of the lads currently, have them. So I think it's a forever changing landscape that certainly challenges us